Now, what you just witnessed was the unveiling of a large lifelike statue of legendary musician Johnny Cash, which now resides in the Rotunda Room of the U.S. Capitol. Now, what some of you may not know is that the representatives of each state are allowed two statues to reside in the Rotunda Room that they believe best represents their state to the nation and to the world. These individuals are supposed to be people that the state are proud of, people who they believe are an example of greatness from their state. And in 2019, the representatives of the state of Arkansas voted to replace both of their statues. And I cannot think of a better, more fitting person to replace a former Confederate officer than Johnny Cash. Why? Because as a patriotic American and a lifelong Johnny Cash fan myself, I understand that Johnny Cash's story is one that is uniquely American, one of rebellion, of triumph over what seems to be the impossible, of redemption, and of faith. Johnny Cash is an American icon, and I believe has long since his career been a representative of what makes our country great, because he rose from extreme poverty in Dyess, Arkansas during the Great Depression to become one of the most legendary artists of the 20th century, and one of three men that is both in the Rock and Roll and Country Music Hall of Fames, along with Elvis Presley and Jerry Lee Lewis. And that honor is befitting of him. But I believe that he is more than capable and more than deserving of this honor, because he understood that it's a great thing to be an American, and that you can be proud to be an American and proud of your heritage as an American, and also criticize your government. You see, Johnny Cash was an advocate for prison reform almost his entire career. He was also an advocate for what many people would view as the downtrodden, the people that society forgot about, an advocate for civil rights and for the plight of the American Indian, who was not respected all that well in the 1960s. Remember, this is during the civil rights movement, and he stood up and said, wait a minute, these people were here first. They are our brothers and sisters, and their story deserves to be told, because their story is our story. We're all Americans. He did songs like the Ballad of Ira Hayes, who told the story of one of the flag raisers over Iwo Jima during World War II. Now, Ira Hayes was a Pima Indian who volunteered to serve his country during World War II and was deployed and fought in the Battle of Iwo Jima, one of the most important battles in the Pacific Theater during World War II. And he had the distinct honor of raising the flag in victory during Iwo Jima. And unfortunately, he was celebrated for a time, but he had his battles with alcoholism, Ira Hayes did, and it ultimately took his life. His life was a very sad one, but he understood that Ira Hayes, just like the rest of the Native Americans in this country, deserved to be honored and have their stories told. This was during a time in the 1960s when that was not popular. He also believed that people deserve second chances. Two of his most iconic albums, Live at Folsom Prison and Live at San Quentin, were recorded at state penitentiaries in 1968 and 1969. And if you haven't seen it, The movie Walk the Line, his biographical film starring Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon, does a wonderful job of outlining the backlash that Mr. Cash received for wanting to record these albums. You see, he believed in the better part of his countrymen. And even if you've made a mistake, that you are not beyond redemption. That is a uniquely Christian message. In fact, when it outlines and puts on display the backlash that he received from record executives for wanting to record this album, the one at Folsom Prison, his record executives said, "Johnny, your folks, Christians, your fans, they don't want to see you singing to a bunch of convicts trying to cheer them up." And he looked at them dead in the eye, took a drag off a cigarette, and said, "Well, they're not Christians then." This man had a battle with drug addiction almost his whole life. But through the redemptive power of Jesus Christ, he overcame it. He also spent a good portion of his life doing the Billy Graham crusades and was a large part of the Billy Graham crusades, he and his wife June Carter, during the 1970s. So he understood the values of faith and Christianity, which helped shape this nation, which I believe many of our countrymen have forgotten, and to our detriment at that. So I definitely believe that Johnny Cash is more than deserving of this honor, and I am glad to see a man of his stature who understood that doing the right thing is not always the popular thing, is being honored, because I believe he should serve as an inspiration to the rest of my countrymen. I want to have you listen to two of his songs that I will drop in the description of this video that I believe outline who he was: The Man in Black and The Ballad of Ira Hayes. Listen to these songs. Listen to their messages and see if you're not inspired. See that you can be proud of who you are and proud of your country. And also call awareness to the fact that our government is not representing us the way that they should. Johnny understood that. It's time we understand that. And I can't think of a better person to inspire people from the state of Arkansas than the legendary Man in Black. If you agree with me, please do me a favor. Please like this video, please share it, and subscribe to my channel for more content.